Today I'm gonna be doing something that I haven't done in a very long time, and which I should be doing much more often, and that's doing an animation study. Well, I'm gonna be studying a video, but same thing. Usually I should be doing these kind of often, but I just never really feel like it, which, you know, you never really feel like doing something like study. At least I never did. But I want to get back into it. I have an animation project I'm working on that I think I want to do something really good for, and for that I need to animate more and be more used to it. So I picked a video from TikTok. There's the credit for the person who took it on the screen, so if you want to check them out. It has like 1 million likes or something, so I think everybody's seen it. But I thought it would be fun in that I would draw just figures to begin with, but if I like what I do with it, I might just use the girls from the ghost hunting club. I'm not sure yet, but yeah. And also one thing we're gonna do for my eyes and everyone else's. Much better. Okay. I like having really long timelines rather than adding frames all the time, because then I forget. Okay. The video itself isn't very long, there's 500 frames, and I'm gonna start by doing a bunch of poses and not really thinking about timing and all of that. I don't really care about that to begin with. But yeah, I'm gonna play it one time. I cut the sound first because it gets really, really annoying when it just keeps looping, and also because I'm not sure I'm allowed to play that. So yeah, that's the user who made that video. I have no idea when it's from. It's been in my little saved folder on TikTok for ages. And there was another one that I remember saving from someone else that had snow, like it was actively snowing, but I can't find it anymore. I think it got deleted, which is so sad. But yeah, let's see. Oh, that's gonna be annoying. Okay, no. Okay. The last really serious animation study I did was a sword movement, which was very fun, and then I decided in my infinite wisdom to put Hiyori from One Piece on it, and she has like 7 layers of clothes, and it was so long to draw because everything's got to move and all of that, and it took me ages. And I did it on Harmony, Toon Boom Harmony, because it's probably my favorite animation program, but it's also a very expensive program, so I don't pay for it every month. I usually get it for like a month or two when I really want to use it, because it's pricey. the base version I think is 30 euros a month, and there's not all the layers I like to use. So yeah, I don't have it all the time. But I did it on that, and it was very fun, and I didn't finish it. No, I didn't finish it, and now I cannot finish it. I don't think I would anyway, because I'm pretty sure the only thing I have left is like a bunch of shading, which I didn't do line art for. So that would be really annoying to do. The only other animation I've been working on is a little something for my friends to remind everyone to stretch often. But it's taking me a while because I think I didn't pick the best point of view. Like it's the camera should be somewhere else, and I don't really want to move it because it means starting over. I should have done this one actually. I made myself tea because outside it's very gray and dark and cold, but I usually forget it as soon as I make it, and it stays on my desk and I never drink it. So today I'm trying. Gotta remember to save often. I opened too many programs the other day, and I wasn't even using Clip Studio at the time, but it's the first one who closed. I was like, oh, wait, where's it gone? We never did this sort of, we never did a dance animation in school. At least I never did. But we did a bunch of other movements, all from reference, all that. And one of my favorites, and I don't have the reference for it anymore because it was from some talk show or like something like that. And it was a kid sitting on a chair, sitting down, which sounds really simple and you think, oh well, that's easy, but it's really not, because there's so many like parts of you that move when you sit down. And I picked a little girl the chair was like this, and she walked towards it, turned, then walked a little backwards and sat down. And her feet would go like this, and then like this. And it was like a lot of overlapping from her legs, and I spent hours on that. Just making sure both legs were in the right place at the right time. And the end result was very satisfying. I was very proud of it. I don't know if it's still in my reel or not. It probably is. And because we had to add characters on top of like our animations, I chose, surprising, I chose Otama from One Piece. Yes, I am very into One Piece. And she was very cute. And I also regretted the fact that I did her entire costume, because in her hair she has like, I don't know exactly what it's called or what it is, but a little comb like this, and then on the side there's flowers, and it goes like this. And this part has to move. Like, it's anchored here and it does this. And that probably took me as long as the feet. I am terrible at this sort of movement. I don't know why, but it's the one I struggle with the most. That, and also a pendulum with like a straight line. This movement, terrible. I always struggle. But yeah, we didn't do dancing. Not that I remember. I'm not sure this is the best pose, but we'll see. I like having little markers like this, just to be sure nothing is moving. One thing I have to really keep track of is that the feet are touching the floor in the same place all the time, which is surprisingly difficult, because if you don't, your character will look like it's sliding instead of whatever movement you want them to be doing, and it's very annoying to fix. It's most difficult with walk cycles, I find, because if you want them to cover a certain distance, they need to move like throughout the space at a certain pace, and like they'll have one foot here and then here and then here and then here. But if this pace that they're walking isn't fast enough, it will look like their feet is sliding on the floor as they're walking, and I hate that. But it's very hard to get rid of when you have a certain amount of frame. Let's say you have like 10 frames, and they need to go from here to here, but they walk sort of slow, or maybe they have small legs, and you need to fit a certain amount of steps, but you don't have the amount of frames. It's really difficult. I hate animating walks. It's the most annoying thing. It's the basis of everything, and it's the most annoying movement. Humans just have too many parts, and all the parts move pretty much all the time. I knew I wanted the girls from the Ghost Hunting Club to be animated at some point, so I kept their designs simple, because I'm not animating a long shot of something really complex when it's an extra, because the comic is like the main media for them. And I knew I wouldn't have the heart to do something really complicated. And it's been really helpful for the comic itself. And now when I think of animating them, I'm like, oh, their design is pretty easy. And I've drawn it so much. The file is like 150 pages now. Which I never really expected to reach, because it's a lot of pages. The first 2 chapters, maybe, were really short. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do that for a few chapters, and then we'll see what I have. And then the chapters got longer and longer. And now they're usually around 20 pages, which adds up. I think the one from yesterday, which an entire chapter released at once because I was on break before. I think it's 21 pages, which is a fine number. I don't have anything about that, but it's an uneven number. And now my pages don't align the way I want them to. So I need to do another 21 pages chapter, just so it's even again. Oh, their hair is going to be the death of me for this little jump thing. Ooh, what are they? I added... Yes. In every program, there's an option to add a frame, well, to add one frame of exposure to a drawn frame, like this drawing here, to expose it for one more frame. And I could not find it anywhere in Clip Studio's shortcuts. I went through all the menus, all the options, and I just could not find it. There were some for adding an entire frame or deleting an entire frame, but it's not what I wanted. So I got a set of actions. Well, that's not very... This, it's a set of auto action that I got from the Clip Studio asset store, and it has everything I want, and this one also has everything I want. I got this one on Twitter a million years ago, and most of them I don't know how to use, and like there's a video demonstration that's really complete that has everything, but I didn't watch everything yet. But yeah, for this one I just looked up animation on the store, I'm pretty sure. And then once I had what I wanted, I added a shortcut for it. It's on the W and X keys. I have a French keyboard. So there at the bottom, there were random options that I don't use on them before, and I wanted it to be on only one key, not a combination, because I don't look at my keyboard that much, and it's a 60% keyboard, so there's not a whole lot of keys to work with anyway. And now it works. Look at this. It's the best. It's such a simple option, but it makes my life so much easier because I hate dragging it like this. It takes so much work. And when I had my older tablet, I couldn't do it because it wasn't precise enough, and it would always select the wrong thing, or like not the little red line but just the frame, and then it wouldn't do what I wanted. I didn't animate a lot on Clip Studio because of that. But it's very practical when you can. Because it doesn't have the more intense options that Harmony has, but it does everything I need pretty easily, and most importantly, there's all my brushes. Like this brush, it's my everything brush. It's the line art for my first comic, and the sketch most of the time as well. And it's like my sketching brush all the time. It's a slightly modified base brush from Clip Studio, to be honest. But it works. I was taught to make brushes, but I was never really a big fan of it. Because like there's so many out there. Especially with the asset store, it's really easy to find them. I'm gonna have to do the other one as well. My cup of tea. Oh. Well, another forgotten one. It's almost completely cold. Since this trend is mostly a winter thing, because the song is about snowmen. It's called Snowmen, I think. Everyone has like jackets and scarves and stuff, and you can't really see the detail of what they're doing. But the more I checked, if there were like cleaner videos or like at different angles and all of that, but they were all from very far away or in the middle of the night. There was a really pretty one with two people in front of the Eiffel Tower, and it was very cute, but it was not ideal to use as a reference because there was just too much happening. There was a train for some reason. I don't know where they were because I don't think there are trains that close. I don't know. And it was the middle of the night. But it was very cute. Okay, good. I thought it was when she was doing this movement, but no. It's fine if I put it here. Okay, so it's the leg at the back. I'm gonna add one in another color. Just to be sure. Because when she twists on herself, here, oops. I want to make sure I have the right position for both feet and that I don't confuse them. Because her entire outfit is dark, I have to keep track of like where each feet is. Because it's very easy to confuse and then you're like, wait, that leg was at the back before, why is it at the front now? Okay. Oops. Not in green though. That's probably a better pose. For now, I'm looking for key poses that best show the movement without all the little in-between things that aren't really necessary to understand what's happening. Just everything that shows what's called extremes. So like the furthest you go in a movement. So if you're moving your arm, it starts here and then you move it that way. The highest it goes is here. That's the extreme. Then you move it back. And the furthest it goes is here. That's also an extreme. I use these, and also if the one in the middle is needed to really understand that you did this movement and not this movement, I add this one as well. I'm gonna have a bunch of little pieces of sketches on the side. When I work on projects with other people, I mostly do cleanup, which is my favorite part, just like line art in comics. But for my own things, I have to do every step. So I still need to practice this sort of exercise. I'm not sure it's entirely clear what goes on between these two, because this one ends up here. It'll do for now. we should be doing this at the same time. So we're gonna add one here and one here, so that they're... Oh, what's this called? Well, I don't know. This movement, when you're like looking towards the floor and everything. English, man. It's difficult. Especially at almost 10 a.m. in the morning. Okay, that works. That works pretty well. I think I'm gonna have to adjust a lot of the sizes, because like the difference between the two is a bit much. But I'll do that later. One thing I usually save with the idea of doing this sort of practices is people showing how to do certain movie movements. And I have one for the Black Widow like leg sweep when she's like this. And it goes like this. And it's so cool. But it goes very, very fast. So there wouldn't be a lot of poses. But I still want to do it because it's very cool. Okay, her feet doesn't move. Okay. This would probably be Mari, because she's shorter than Billy. A little bit. On some panels she's much shorter, but she shouldn't be. Have this pose. Sort of. It's when she's here. One thing I'd love to do, probably later in the year, is to reanimate a scene from an anime I like. I don't know if I would want it to be more a fight scene or something more emotional. I haven't decided yet, but it looks like a fun exercise, and if I pick something that I wouldn't normally do, it could be more interesting. Because I often do these, like, the studies like this, like there's a specific movement that I think is interesting and I do that, but I don't do like the things before where they're probably talking, deciding what to do, or after, once they're done with the dance and they're like proud of them and getting the camera back and all of that. So maybe picking a scene from something that already exists would force me to do these scenes that I don't usually do. Here she moves her foot by lifting it, but I think I'm just gonna have her drag it on the floor, like slide it. It'll depend what it's like when I have the final timing. Oops. For now we're gonna do this one. What is she doing with her arms? Come on. Oh. I think I'm just gonna have them cross in front of her. Like one here and one here. So then this one can be yes, it's from this side. Okay, I just need to move this now. And save, so I don't lose everything. that's pretty good. And that's 100 frames out of 500. I don't know if I do a middle pose when they're both raising their hands or directly when they're touching. Like here. Oop. I don't know if it would be clear enough. That like they raised the second hand. Seems to work. Bring her a little closer. Yes, it's this leg that she moves. I will get it confused at some point. Okay, better. That's still not the most consistent, but that works. Now I'm gonna take a break, get some water, do some stretching for 5 to 10 minutes maybe, and then I'll keep going. Alright, I've done my stretches, I got some water. I didn't think to reheat my tea, which I'm thinking of now that I see it on my desk, unsurprisingly. Let's see, I'm hoping I can do maybe half the video today. I don't know, maybe if some movements are repeated, like when they're doing this, they do it twice. But I'm usually not a fan of just duplicating a movement. I think it's more interesting if it's drawn twice. And then there's all of this, which is gonna take me a while. The problem is that they move their feet quite a lot, and I have to draw that, otherwise you just don't understand what's going on. And I think I would like to cut it there. I don't see either of the girls being able to do this. Maybe I'll draw it just to practice, but I'm not sure. I think cutting it here would be better. Because they don't, like, they cut the video before they picked up the camera, or maybe like it cut on its own, I don't know. But yeah, this is a little extra for what I want to do with it. So we're here. They both do the little hop. I have them before. Oops. One thing they made us do in school that I will do once I'm done with like the study part and then I'm adding the design is here there will be all my references, like this, and then the side, well, the other side, because they're always from the same angle. And when we were doing the film, we also had a bunch of like expressions, all the colors. We had color palettes as well. There was like just a bunch of things around the screen on top of what we were drawing. And I kept moving them because I usually like to draw quite zoomed in when I'm doing like inks or something. I'm usually like this. And obviously if the references are to the side, I can't see them. And I don't like looking up at a second screen. So I just move them around all the time. I know there's this, the subview for references, but it's small and it's horizontal, and I have a reference file which has a bunch of folder, and it's like this. And I usually separate my screen with like the references and then my main piece that I'm drawing. But to stream, it's not the most efficient, because then I have to like cut into my screen just this, and what about this, and what about this. So yeah. I don't know if it's going to be clear that she jumped in between. Because now this leg is at the front. And this one is at the back. I think she needs to be a little closer. Yeah, just as expected. Okay. Okay, better. I always make them smaller and smaller and smaller, and I just don't realize. This one doesn't really work. But I'm not really sure how to do it without drawing a bunch of poses. Maybe I'll just have to. Okay. For the arms at the back, I don't know if they'll be very visible. Okay. Okay, it works much better. This one needs to stay here. But the other one at the front. One thing I'm not gonna have fun with is the hands, but I think I might just give them gloves. Like these kinds of gloves. Much easier. I considered doing this with Billy and Delilah instead of Billy and Mari, but Billy and Delilah are basically the same design. Their faces are identical, and I don't think it would be very interesting to draw. I think I'd get very tired of it. I'd be like, okay, I'm done drawing this one design for Billy. I've done all her frames. She looks amazing. And now I have to draw Delilah, which looks exactly the same. Do we need this one? Probably not. I'm gonna do this one first, and then we'll see if we need it. I don't think we will. One thing I need to remember to do is this, because otherwise I'll be really confused later. Like, why is her leg broken in a way it really shouldn't be? Okay. And so this one is the same as this one, sort of? Not really. Because they put their feet down, these two, here. And then they stay for a long time. So if I reuse this pose, I don't think it'll look the same. One thing that I didn't think about is when you look at it from the top, their arms are like this in the first pose. That's the best drawing I've ever done. And then they look like this. But from the side, it doesn't look much different. I just hope it's sort of clear when the designs are added, depending on what clothes I give them. That this is what's going on. And that their arms aren't just becoming really, really short for no reason. Because I don't look at my keyboard that much, I'm always pressing the wrong key. Some of them I really need to change the shortcuts for, because they're made for an American keyboard, and so they're at stupid places. And I have small hands. I can't reach. Not without looking. The thing for the arms at the back, this one, is that the camera in this is slightly angled. Like, they're like this, and the camera is like this. So it looks up a little bit, and that's why their arms at the back look under the arms at the front. But I don't want that to really show in this. So the arms at the back will be mostly hidden by the ones at the front. It can be really difficult to find references that have the right angle, the perfect angle, because a lot of people just put their camera wherever is convenient. Like, you're not gonna get something to put this camera higher just so it's at a better angle. That's not the point. But when you're looking for very specific reference, sometimes it's just a better use of time to film it yourself, even if it's not perfect, than go through like a million videos trying to find the perfect one. Which I have done before. I spent a long time looking for very specific things that I just was not going to find. Okay, I drew this one, sort of. I need to do this one. That's gonna be a little harder because I can't have as much notes on the floor to see where they should be, because they're just moving too much. And if I put too many notes, I get lost in them. Like 3 here is already a lot. And then I'm like, what am I supposed to do with these? And I get even more confused. Do their hands stay in the same place? Yes, mostly. They just go higher. Okay, that's a good... wrong one. That's a good reference to have, I think. Oh, it's because it... okay. Okay, better. See what I mean? If I have too many things, I'm just confused. Also thinking I should have done this a lot bigger, because I'm using this amount of space in this big of a canvas, but I tend to work really small, and it was one of my teacher's main critique, that and values, like how dark and light things are. They were always telling me, like, work bigger, make it bigger. And I was like, no. Why would I want to make it bigger? We worked a lot in A3. And I was like, this is so intimidating. This is a huge piece of paper. But for the values thing, I never make things dark enough, and it's still a problem that I have. It's just never dark enough. I'm scared of making it too dark, but it ends up too light all the time. And I'm still fixing it. I'm trying to put, when I work in color, I'm trying to put a filter over it, like, I don't know the name of it, but like a grayscale filter sort of, where it tells you exactly how dark and light things are. So I can see, well, I can see the darks and the lights, but also I can see if I have like a good range. Because if this is my darkest color, this is my lightest color, but I only have this and this in the middle, and nothing, that's not going to be visible, and nothing in this range, it's not very good because it's not going to be easy to read. But if I have some of this, if I have a bunch of these, the whole range, or most of it, like maybe I don't have this one, then it's good because it's going to be much easier to read. And it's something that you don't see, it's not the first thing you see when you look at a piece because, well, it's in color. But when you know what to look for, it becomes really obvious, and it can be a really easy thing to fix by just adjusting a couple colors. So I try to do that more often, especially when I do speed paintings. I don't color pick for speed paintings. I try to find the closest color match, which is also really hard. Never mind. But because of that, it means that sometimes I don't realize that all my colors are really, like, they're all a middle gray. And that's why my piece is kind of boring. I think I should push her back a little more. Because she's got her leg really far back and she's leaning to the front. So maybe like this. As like a static pose, this doesn't really work because she would just fall. But since she's moving sort of fast and pushing against her friend for balance, it's fine. Yeah, I want them to have some distance between them. I think I'm going to do this one as well. Her leg at the back is slightly out of frame, but it's clearly like supporting all her weight and pushing forward. I'm just not sure if it's going to look... I don't want it to look like she's floating or something. Which is gonna be pretty difficult. In a way, they are sort of floating, but like not really. Okay. This leg at the front. Having this as the middle is pretty practical. I'm gonna keep it for the rest of it, I think. Oh, their arms are much lower. Okay. Her leg is a little farther this time. They're much closer during the first move. The first time they do this pose, their feet are much closer. Which is also why I don't like to reuse the pose as much, because they're doing the exact same movement but differently. And it's more interesting if it's not repeated. But it also means it's a lot more work. Because these I have to like sketch twice and ink twice, color twice and all that. And since this is a study, it doesn't really matter. But if I was doing like a shot for a short movie, something, sometimes it's just better to be faster because you just don't have the time. When we were doing the film, we didn't reuse much because there wasn't much we could reuse, but everything we could we did. And there were 8 of us for 8 months. This one I don't like. It just doesn't have a lot of energy. Maybe I'll fix it later. Maybe I won't. See, they're a lot less close here than this one. Their hands are higher. She's doing the little jump again. Just the bane of my existence. Oh, I need to stop my alarm. I have regular alarms during the day as a reminder to like get some water, do some stretches, and switch tasks often as well. Because if I get really into something, I just forget that I have other things to do. And I'm like, oh, I did one thing today when I had others that were more important. Oh, this looks like garbage. Okay. Because I was really sick, well, no, I was sort of sick the past few days, sort of 10 days, something like that. I just basically couldn't focus, and I just did random things. I didn't track anything. I was just doing things when I felt like it. Well, when I had the energy for it, mostly. And now I'm like, oh, what did I get done? What did I forget? Because I have a planner that I didn't touch for like a week. It's a Hobonichi week, so it's only 2 pages that are empty, but still. I did a lot of reading though. I want to get started. My partner gifted me House of Leaves for Christmas. And I want to get started soon, and I want to take notes. Because all I know about it is like really interesting, but it's also sort of complicated. And I want to make sure I'm really focusing, like following everything. It's in English because I wanted to read it in the original language. And it has like the formatting that is so specific about it, with the colors and everything. We went to London last year and I found it in a bookstore. It was a different edition. I found it, but it was £30, which is a lot of money. And it was also like a brick. It was so heavy. And a huge book. And I knew I couldn't bring it back with me on the plane, so I didn't buy it. And I like hardcovers for books, and it was a soft cover, but there were no hardcovers anywhere. I looked online and I couldn't find any. And this is like an American edition with a hardcover and with the formatting. I was talking about it with a friend and I was like, oh yeah, I found out about this book existing through the video on the Doom mod My House, which is I've never played Doom. I didn't know anything about it, and the first video I watched about it was this mod. A guy like going through everything he found. It was really interesting. I was like, oh, this is so creative. I love this. And then he was like, oh, it's an exact... Well, no. It's very, very, very inspired by the book House of Leaves. I was like, oh, tell me more. In France, they did an edition that I think is so ugly. The book is like this. And the cover? This is the cover. Here, it's the first page. Like there's a centimeter of just the first page. And the cover doesn't go all the way. And I think it's so ugly. It's horrible. I hate it. A lot of people think it's really pretty, but I'm like, no, this is terrible. And also I'm pretty sure the first page is gonna get really damaged. I don't know. I was not a fan. But mostly I wanted it in English. Because I can read in English. And I like to do so. And I think it's interesting to read books in their original language rather than translated. Both are good, but for something so specific, I would much rather read the original. Okay, the little jump. This pose will be good, I think. Yeah. I need to remember to make her lean forward more. Because she's often doing it, but I forget to draw it. Yeah, it's sort of this pose. She's just leaning back more. Well, she's further. Okay, this works. And now this one. Oh. Their poses are so different. Gonna start with her. Yep, their hair is gonna be really annoying. Because they both have longish hair. Billy reaches here, and Mari about here. And it's all loose. They don't really tie their hair, either of them. Ooh, that doesn't. For the outfits, I'm thinking either what they have in chapter 6 or some of the first outfits I drew them with, which is like their uniform. But Mari's shirt has like stripes, so probably not. I don't want to draw Billy in her skirt for this because I don't think she could do a lot of the movements. Oh, they start turning here. So when they land here, they start turning. Okay. Let's see. Because they're gonna have to do this. Also, I'm gonna remove this one. Oh. Because their hands are not gonna be following that anymore. Since they're turning like this. Yes, it is. Checking the legs once again, just to make sure. Usually we do this, so like say this is the one at the back. But when it's clear, I usually don't do it. Like here, it's obvious it's this one, so I don't add it. And then you go from one without to one with, and it does little flashes, and I think it's distracting when you're watching back your animation to see if everything moves the way it should. I tend to focus too much on these lines rather than what's actually going on. I don't think you can hear, but my upstairs neighbor just dropped something quite heavy. I'm pretty sure they have children upstairs, because there's a lot of noise that I think are made by children, but we never hear any voices, which is pretty cool. I've never really had the problem of like neighbors I can hear, but my sister did, and she said it was really taxing after a while, especially when you need silence to work, or like to focus on homework and things. Oh, shit. And that she was very excited to move somewhere else without the noisy neighbors. But that was like 2 apartments ago now. Okay. I think I'm gonna draw this one just to be sure it's clear what's going on. I don't think I need it right now, but like it won't hurt to have it. One in between less for later. I know what you're supposed to do is like do all the key poses as a sketch and then ink them all once it works. Well, you have like your keys, your extremes, and all that. But the in-betweens you're supposed to do once everything else is inked, and then you just do the in-betweens. Some people do them like in inks right away, but I cannot do that. But I like drawing them in the sketch phase, like doing all the sketch and then all the inking. I think it's, for me, it's better because I can see if like the movement I'm drawing actually works. Or if it's just, it looks good for now, but once the in-betweens are added, it's not clear what's going on. Okay, so it's her like this. And you don't see most of her arms on this side and a little bit on this side. I think I'm gonna draw this one. The thing is that here she moves her feet a lot. And it goes here. But in this pose, you don't really see that she's moving it to the side. So I would need this one to really make it clear. So I'm gonna do this one first, I think. And then this one. I'm just not sure it's gonna be clear how she moves her feet until I add more frames. But for now I'll work with this. Is she higher than before? A little bit, yes. But not that much. What's gonna have to be really detailed in here is how this foot crosses in front of the other. Because depending on how I choose to draw it, it will look like it went through her leg at the back, which is obviously not what happens, but like this. This is technically the back leg, but this one is further on the floor. And like I thought, this arm won't be very visible. They're supposed to be much further apart. This one can go like this. It just needs to be clear that the hands are moving. Like, this is the viewer, and the hands were here, and now they're here. This makes no sense. But like, their arms are like this, and now they're like this. so for her, it stays here, but oh. Because the problem is that here she's supported by this foot, and then very shortly by the other one, and she falls back on this one. So here in the middle, she needs to be a little higher with this one probably touching the floor. And then here, well here, she can have this front leg that's on the floor and this other one that's falling back from where it was jumping, floating. Okay, the problem is that she's supposed to be at the back. Already be sort of turning like this. Alright, I'm pretty sure if I play this it will go really, really fast, but yeah. It goes a little fast, but that's mostly what it's gonna look like. With lots and lots and lots of more poses and in-betweens. But yeah. I think I'm gonna stop here for today because I'm starting to lose my focus, but I think it's pretty good. I did almost 60 frames, which is good. Well, I did 30 poses, but times 2, so it counts. I'll be continuing this next Tuesday, but on tomorrow and Thursday I'm gonna do comics. And yeah, see you tomorrow.